Hello, professionals. My name is Rico Aladdin, and I'm the founder of Professional Lunch. Today's show is about personal branding and entrepreneurship. And we have Off Color Media CEO here in the studio. Jay, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, man. I really want to talk to you about those two topics, and I know you are ready to have a conversation about it.
Totally. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Wonderful. Please tell the Professional Lunch audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so my name is Jay Evans. I'm the founder and CEO of Off Color Media, a video production company that really cares about you and your story. And where that really comes from is social media, cinema cameras, a lot of these things that used to be specific to Hollywood because there's their price points, right? So now that a cinema camera is no longer 50,000 and now it's 5,000, which is still a lot of money, but it's just created a lot more obtainableness for creating beautiful cinematography for smaller, more nimble teams, right? So instead of having a 100-person, Hollywood set team, you can operate on, like 5 or 10, right? And still get beautiful images and create stunning work for commercial purposes and companies and businesses.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, we were talking right before the show, and you were telling me about your educational journey.
Yeah,
You were at UND, and
For
please
sure.
tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so my education journey, I grew up in the Minneapolis area in a really nice suburb called Minnetonka. Graduated there in 2012, went to school at Iowa State for a year and a half. Tuition was like 35 or 30,000 a semester, so a little bit expensive.
A little bit.
A little bit expensive. And I also didn't really know what I wanted to do after school.
Yeah.
Other than that, I had taken all of the marketing, entrepreneurship, and business classes at my high school before I had graduated. So I knew I wanted to do something in marketing or advertising or business or something.
Yeah.
I just didn't quite know what that meant for me. So I went to Iowa State for a year and a half, and then I actually took a year and a half off of college and moved to a town called Carrington, North Dakota,
Yep.
which is actually the same size. The city's the same size as my high school was. So like 2,800 people is in the town of Carrington, which was the same size that Minnetonka was when I went to school there back in 2008 to 2012.
Yeah.
And I ended up there because my mom and dad grew up there in Carrington and met. And then after I graduated high school, my mom actually moved back to Carrington to take care of her parents. And I lived there for a season of my life for a year and a half. And I was looking at, I still didn't really know what I wanted to do after school, but I knew that UND was like 8,000, a semester. So a little bit cheaper than Iowa State, right? I was like, I could work part-time and pay that off, right? So I actually didn't even go to UND. I actually went to Northland Community College for a year because I still had to finish up some generals before I declared my actual marketing major to transfer to UND. And I was at Northland in East Grand Forks, which is a beautiful community college, by the way. And I just had seen kind of the jobs that people were getting that would, a bunch of my friends or people in my age group would move to Austin, Texas, or San Diego, or down south, or wherever, and then move back to Minneapolis to get their jobs. And they were all kind of working in these like corporate spheres, right? They're maybe like doing, 50-person call sheets for medical sales, and that's a great paying job. But I just knew that there was something else that I wanted to do outside of that at some point in time. I knew that there was something more that I could do in terms of just reaching out to my full potential as a human being in the world. So 2015, 16 was like, all right, school will always be there, but there's got to be a different way. So I picked up a camera in like 2016 or 2017, and we can get into the rest of that if we want to, but then it's basically just trying a bunch of different things. And then through that, now we worked with a nonprofit, went on a music hip hop tour as the videographer, shot for person Gary Vaynerchuk, worked with like Orange Theory Fitness, the franchisee owners, and then moved to Fargo in 2019. And then now I've worked with like Wanza Construction, Xcel Energy, Bobcat, Komatsu, Toyota.
Wow, you have some very interesting clients there, man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So throughout that whole journey, that could be a 5-hour spiel if we wanted it to be. But throughout all that, just kind of learning, who am I? what are my own core values? What's my mission in the world? And then how does that relay into the production company that I'm running today?
You mentioned something that I think that I want you to talk to that student that who may not know what they want to do yet, because
Totally.
yes, we get discussed a lot. Students who tell us, I don't know what I want to do,
Which
and
is
they're
fair.
about to graduate. That's the thing, though. They're about to graduate. They don't know what they
I
want
was
to
there
do
too.
yet. Yes. So, I mean, from your experience now that you have a very, a successful company, what can you tell
Yeah.
that student, who doesn't know what he or she wants to do?
Totally.
Mm.
I mean, and this probably isn't the right advice for everybody, but for me personally, right, I'm going to talk on what I know.
Yeah.
If I were to go back in time, hindsight's 2020,
Mhm.
always right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gone to college. I would have interned at a production company for 6 months and then gotten done with that and reflected on my experience and say to myself, do I actually want to do this for the rest of my life? Do I understand what this career actually means to me?
Yeah.
But then I think the biggest thing that I've realized in time too, as being a business owner, is that this is the type of personality that I do have and that I do fit into this block, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that I wish I would have came out of high school knowing, or specifically college, is where do I fit into the workforce? Am I an owner? Am I an operations manager? Am I a middle manager? Am I a doer? Right? And that's not to say that you can't level up from those positions, but I really wanted to know, or what I wish I would have known, is where do I actually land in that whole entire leadership hierarchy scale? And then from there, trying to figure that out first, and then pick the industry second. Because people think about, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be an astronaut, and it's like they don't actually understand what that means, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate that I do have 30,000, foot up in the air kind of like look of the world. I'm very high level. I'm not, super detailed, minutia specific, and that's why we hire people like that in my company to be that extra leg. But I'm a person that's always, what's in the future? What's 10 years down the line? And somebody like that with that personality is never going to do well if they can't flourish in their own, job environment, right?
Wow. Wonderful. Man, you asked a very, very valuable question. Where do I fit in the workplace?
Totally.
And if you figure that out, you match the education with that, right?
Totally.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's a perfect way, if a segment, to go into that our topics today, which is personal branding. So
Here
what
we
is
are.
personal branding? And talk to the students who will be watching this about personal branding.
Yeah.